Alright, in this video I'll be upgrading my kid's PlayStation 4 hard drive to this SSD 1TB. It's Western Digital and it was on half price, so I figured I'd do this weekend. I did get a 2TB external drive. I'm going to use this to download the full games onto so I don't have to mess around with the discs, and then I'm going to later use this to store all my YouTube videos. Once I have a YouTube video complete and posted, I do store it and I'm out of storage space. You definitely need one USB, and I found this 8GB stick is more than enough. And I use this one to reinstall the PlayStation 4 system software once I put the new drive in. And then I got this 32GB SanDisk. It was like 15 bucks at Walmart. And I use this for all the user profile information. You don't necessarily need to use all these things. Really, you just need the SSD and maybe the 8GB memory stick. The other two things are a little supplementary, but I think this is probably the easier way to do things. So before I get going, I do need to know the model number of the PlayStation 4 because some of the steps are a little bit different depending on which model you have. So this is a CUH1215 Alpha. You need the model number, you do not need the serial number. So I'm just going to write that down on a piece of paper and then go over to my computer, although I probably could have memorized it. So like I said, you need the CUH1215, and really that 1215 is the key piece. And then you go on the Sony PlayStation website and there's three options. Mine's the first one, and then there's a 20 model number and a 70 model number. So mine would fall into the regular PlayStation 4, sort of the first gen models. If you have the CUH20, it's a slim. If you have the CUH70 and some numbers, it's the PlayStation 4 Pro. And then on the PlayStation website, you can look at different steps for each one. So I'm going to throw my USB in, then go to screen recording. I'm going to download the PS4 console reinstallation file. So I've got my USB in the computer, and you want the USB to be set at FAT32. So check that. If it's anything else, you need to change it. Mine's obviously at FAT32 straight out of the gate, so I'm good. You may have to look up how to change your USB. And then I'm going to go into the USB, which is completely empty, and I'm going to make one folder that says PS4, capital P, capital S, number 4. And then I'm going to make a folder within the PS4 folder called Update, all in capitals. Now I'm going to download the PS4 console reinstallation file on my computer. I'll edit out most of the upload, but it took about 5 minutes. And then I'm going to do a cut and paste of that file and put it into the uploads folder that I've created in my USB. Again, I'll skip over most of the upload time, but there you can see that that file is now in the upload folder. So first folder is PS4. Second folder is update, and there's the file I downloaded. I'm not going to change the name. I'm not going to mess with it at all because the PlayStation 4 is going to look for that in the USB. Now this is where the steps can get a little bit variable. I'm going to go into my PlayStation 4, and because I have a PlayStation Plus account for the kids, I could go in and save all the kids' game data to the PlayStation Plus account, and in fact it already is anyway because there's automatic uploads to the PlayStation Plus, so I wouldn't necessarily have to download that stuff. I do anyway, but if you need to do that, you can go into Application Save Data Management and then just save everything to the PlayStation Plus account. So again, you don't necessarily need the USB sticks. I did prefer just going with the USB stick. The next thing I'm going to do here is download all the games onto my hard drive. So I'll put the hard drive into the USB slot on the front of the PlayStation. Then I'll go into settings. I'll go down to devices because I need to format the storage. Go into USB storage devices. You can see there's no little green light there. I'm now going to go to format as extended storage. So this is going to wipe out anything on your USB or your hard drive. So if you're going to format it, make sure it's not something that you have a bunch of saved information on. So it is best to use a new one. Obviously, you're going to have to click yes a whole bunch of times so that the PlayStation will format it. And that doesn't take very long, a couple of seconds, and then just hit OK. And you can now see there's a little green light beside where it says Seagate, indicating it's good to go. So now I'm going to go into storage, and you can see there's system storage and extended storage. System is obviously the PlayStation. Extended obviously is the external hard drive. So I'll go into the system storage, open up the applications, then I'll hit that option menu, select move to extended storage. Obviously you could pick one game or all games. I'm just going to go select all, and then just scroll down to move and click on the move button, and then you get again a confirmation that that's what you want to do. Hit OK, and then it's going to move all the games that are stored on the old hard drive and drop them onto the external hard drive. Once that's done, I'm going to take my USB, toss it into the PlayStation, and then I'm going to go to the trophies. And if you want to save all the trophies, you got to do that separately. So I'm going to go into each of the accounts that are on the PlayStation and sync the trophies with the PlayStation Network. To do that, you just hit Options, and then the Sync with PlayStation Network option comes up. You do have to do that for each of the users, so if your kids have separate accounts, whatever, go in and do it for each of the users. Now I'm going to go to System. I'm going to go to Backup and Restore. I'm going to go to Backup the PS4, hit OK, hit Next. It's going to give you the options of what you want to back up. I'm just going to back up everything. And this is going to allow me to bring all my user information into the new hard drive once I have it installed. So once again, I do want to just take everything. So I'm going to hit Next, and then I'm going to hit Backup. And just like everything else, this takes a little bit of time. Overall, the amount of time you need to dedicate to this activity personally isn't that much, but you're just back and forth, and this thing is taking like 30 minutes here and there to upload and save things. So it can be a little bit slow. So now I'm going to turn everything off, and I'm going to swap the hard drives out. Obviously, I'm going to properly power down the PlayStation 4 because I'm going to be fully disconnecting it from the power. So now I've got one USB for the PlayStation 4 system information. I have the one USB with all the save states and just general profile information. And then the external hard drive has all the games on it. So to open up this type of PlayStation, really you just use your fingers, separate it, just slides apart, very straightforward. And there's only one screw that holds in the hard drive. So it's right there. I was hoping I could just use a regular screwdriver. I think my family has my eyeglass repair kit hidden, so all I've got is this one screwdriver to work with, but that's okay. It's going to do the job. Take out that one screw and then just pull the hard drive out. Super easy. And that's what the old hard drive looks like. The one big thing here is you need to get the new hard drive oriented in the correct direction because it doesn't go both ways. So you need to take a good look at the new hard drive and the old hard drive and make sure that you're putting it in correctly. Just throw it in fast motion here. There are 4 screws that hold the hard drive into the hard drive mounting housing, and you just need to take those out and then remove the hard drive. Should just slide out or sort of peel out. And like I said, before I actually pull the whole hard drive out, I'm going to check out the new hard drive and the old hard drive and just make sure that I have everything in the correct orientation. Obviously, if you put it in upside down, it's not going to actually insert properly. So mount the new hard drive in the hard drive mounting housing, and then take the 4 screws and reinstall them so that your hard drive doesn't flop around inside of the PlayStation 4. Again, I'll throw it in fast motion, speed this up a little bit. Now just take the hard drive and slide in the PlayStation 4, and that's pretty much it. Again, there's only one screw to put into the PlayStation to hold everything in, so it's a very straightforward process. One thing I noticed before I put this screw back in is they actually stamped the PlayStation symbols on the screw, which is an interesting splurge for PlayStation. Kind of thought that was cool. But anyway, put the screw back in and tighten it up, and that's it. Super easy, super fast to swap out a hard drive on this thing. Obviously, there's a few steps that you got to do to download programs and save things, but other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Again, if you got a bunch of stuff saved on your PlayStation, it is time consuming. So if you were to get one secondhand, for example, I would do it as soon as you get the PlayStation as opposed to having to do it after the fact and after you have a whole bunch of games loaded on. So the cover just slides back on. Now the first thing I'm going to do to get the PlayStation usable again is to reinstall the console installation file. So I'll put the USB into the PlayStation 4, and again I downloaded that one off the internet using a computer. And then I'm going to start the PlayStation 4 in safe mode. So you have to hold down the power button. You're going to hear one beep right away, and after 7 seconds or so you should hear a second beep, and then you can let go of the power button. You do need a cord to connect your PlayStation remote to the PlayStation, and now that it's in safe mode, I get one option, and that's to initialize the PS4 with the reinstallation software. So obviously I'm going to hit enter, I'm going to slide her over to OK, and I'm going to hit OK. Again, you have to start the PlayStation in safe mode. You can see the USB's flashing away there, so it's doing something. So I'm going to go to yes. Obviously I want the PlayStation 4 to be initialized, and once again it's going to take a little bit of time to run through all the initiation processes. Good time to go get a coffee. After a little bit of time, it is going to start back up, and so far so good. Now if this was a brand new PlayStation 4, or if you got one secondhand and you just did this straight away, this would be pretty much it, and then you'd have a fresh PlayStation to work with. But that's not my case. Obviously we've had it for about 10 years now, so I'm going to go through all the basic crap here, like select your language, set your time, that kind of thing. And then it's going to connect to the internet, which is obviously critical, and I'll skip that step, sort of do it on my own. And once it's connected either to a hard line internet or through Wi-Fi, it just looks like a brand new PlayStation. So overall, very fast, very easy to get to this point. Now obviously I want to get the games and stuff back on it, so I'm going to go to System. I'm going to go to Restore the PlayStation 4. I've got that black USB stick in there, and I use that stick to back up the PlayStation 4, and all I'm going to do is the restore. So this should bring back all the save states, all the user profiles, that kind of thing. But now you can see I've got all the user profiles back by doing the system restore, and all the game save states are back. Pretty much everything is now back except for the actual game files, which are still on the external hard drive. If you didn't have the external hard drive, you can either use your PlayStation Plus account, get them offline if you had purchased them, or if you have the discs, you could just throw the discs in and do them one at a time. I think it is more convenient to save everything onto an external hard drive and just use that. Had I not used a USB for all of my user data, I could have pulled everything off the PlayStation Network by going into the Application Save Data Management within the Settings section. Anyway, I'm going to now move all of the games back onto the PS4. So go into Storage, go into the Extended Storage, open the Applications, hit the Option button, and then select Move to System Storage. And then it's going to ask you to select what you want to move. Obviously, I'm going to pick everything, and I'm going to hit OK and yes a few times. And then about an hour and a half later, it should finish up. Once it's done, you can see that there's nothing remaining in the extended storage, and everything is now back to system storage, which has an 861 gigabyte hard drive. Obviously, it's reserving some of the space on the 1 terabyte for other things. And as a quick test, I'll just randomly select this Batman game, and it opens up. Obviously, I'm not going to play it in this video, which is getting pretty long now, but everything is just fine with this Batman game. In fact, everything's good with all the games, but there is one game that caused quite a bit of difficulty, and the game that caused me the most amount of grief is Grand Theft Auto 5. And the reason that Grand Theft Auto 5 caused some problems in getting it playable again, you can see that it's in the PlayStation, so it's telling me to go to the PlayStation store and buy it again. Now this is because it wasn't purchased on this account that I'm using right now. One of the kids purchased it on their own account, so they have to log in to their account, put their email in and password, and then set up that game themselves. And then once that's done, I can play it off any account. Like I said, I had to call the kids in, have them log into each of their accounts, and then I was able to access Grand Theft Auto 5, and now all the games are good to go again. So that is one hiccup if you have multiple users on one PlayStation 4 and each user has their own profile and has purchased stuff, you might have to get them to do a separate login to get the game. And like I said, there are other options to get the game back. Either use the disc, or if you have it on the PlayStation Store, you can go back to the PlayStation Store, go to your purchase games and re-download it. So for example, like I'm doing for this World of Tanks game. Select it out of the store, hit download, and it'll re-download it onto your PlayStation 4, and then you can play it. And if you had progress saved and it was in your profile, obviously that progress would come back when you re-uploaded all your user information. Now if you're having other issues, I'd go to settings and then into account management. And there's a couple options in here. One is restore licenses. So you can go to your account and hit that. If you're having any difficulties getting into your purchase games, that might be something that could be an issue. Pretty simple, just click on the restore licenses button. And the second thing you might need to do is activate this as your primary PlayStation 4. So just click on that activate button and it'll activate it as your primary PlayStation 4. Pretty simple. And that's about it. I didn't encounter any serious problems other than that Grand Theft Auto 5 and just having it on multiple accounts. Everything else went pretty smooth. If you can get the SSD and the USBs on sale, this is a pretty cheap and easy way to breathe a little bit of life back into your PlayStation 4. I'm not really too keen to get a PlayStation 5 because the kids are using the PlayStation 4 and then we're generally using the computers more than anything. So hopefully this will extend the life for another year or two on the PlayStation 4. Anyway, thanks for checking out my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.